I'm out here gardening today, guys, and we have some tomato sprouts. I had planted, well, started rather, these seeds with my pepper seeds. So lesson learned here: don't start your tomatoes and your pepper seeds at the same time. I was checking them every day, but of course these sprouted at night, I'm sure. And then when I woke up and checked them, fortunately I checked them early, they were kind of leggy, some of them, because they were looking for the light. So I transplanted them into these little containers this morning. I'm waiting on the Romas to finish sprouting today, and I'm going to transfer them out here as well, but I'm letting them get some sun very, very early. I want them to establish their roots as though they're outside. I don't want to have these things sitting in my house. It's just not enough room for it. The spacing that I would need for all the plants I'm planting, I just don't have it, and I have pets, and I don't want my plants getting ruined by pets either. So I'm just gonna keep them outdoors and let them do their thing. It's supposed to be pretty warm here, so I shouldn't have an issue, but we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna be planting my carrots, my next set of carrots, and some more leeks today. I have to top these bags off with some soil because if you can see, we've had like a lot of rain here, and my bags, like, they basically compacted the soil some. So I mean, that's not a bad thing, you know, better now than after I add the carrot seeds and they start growing. That way when I add the rest of it, I can kind of loosen up the soil some, and then the carrot should be okay to grow. I went ahead and added the soil in. I'm just gonna go ahead and mix this, break up some of these larger chunks. I'm not gonna break them up too much because I am planting carrots, like I said, so I just want to make sure that, like, they're not too big, but you know, having some of them in there should help the carrots along. And I'm just gonna water these in, and we'll drop those seeds. So let me know down below, like, if you guys are you know, team water before you plant the seed or water after. I prefer to water before, that way the soil is already wet. I can just finger poke the seed in and be done. So the seed I'm about to plant is the Imperator. I think this, I always thought it was like the Nantes, that was like the typical carrot you find in the store, but apparently it's these. I don't know if you're familiar with like the facts behind that, let me know. But either way, these and the Nantes to me look like what you would typically find in a store. Now I went on the Farmer's Almanac for this. On the packet it does say plant in March and April for me. On the almanac, specific to my area, it says to go ahead and start this on February 1st. So I plan to start my plantings on the 2nd, and it is still the week of the 2nd, so that's what I'm doing. I don't think it's going to make a significant difference because it is relatively warm here. And it's going to be that way for the rest of February. As surprisingly, our temperatures, while I'm opening the pack, actually are supposed to be a tad bit cooler at the start of March than they are now. So for this particular planting, I'm literally going to go ahead and dump this whole pack. Or should I? That's a lot. Actually, I'm going to do half the pack. About half. And then what I will do, because I do want them to be able to grow without me losing a lot of seeds from thinning or having to pull carrots because they're just too many. I want them to be nice and long like they're supposed to be. And because I have March and April that I can plant more, what I might do is, by the time April comes, obviously these should pretty much be close to harvestable time. What I might do is go ahead and plant some more of these around like March 15th. That way I'll have a second succession going into the summer. So in this bag, y'all, what I'm actually gonna do with the carrots, first of all, is I'm gonna plant some chives alongside them, and I don't think they'll be competing for space, so I'm not really worried about it. But I'm just putting my little signs in so I know what's in what. So what I'm going to do with this bag, I'm putting leeks in, and I'm actually going to put them around the perimeter. I'm going to direct sow a tomato plant. Now what I'm going to do is direct sow one of my Roma tomato variety plants, and that's a determinate tomato. So I want to see how the plant does considering like our weather, even though it's 1 month earlier than we're supposed to transplant them. So I'm still doing my transplants, but I want to see what happens if I do the direct sow early. But yeah, I'm just dropping the seeds like kind of right around the perimeter for this, and then the leeks should also serve as a kind of beneficial companion plant to this tomato. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop that seed in the middle. So you guys can see I actually took out 2 seeds just to make sure at least one germinates. So I'm just going to drop them literally not very far from one another. And then I'm going to get my gloves and push these all in just a tiny bit. Alright, so in this little baggie, y'all, I am going to plant some tarragon. I already have some borage going in here. You can see that they kind of flowered. I'm going to be planting, I believe, a tomato plant in here, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm also going to drop some tarragon seeds. I'll probably do it in this like little corner right here because I still need to clean some of this bag out. And I will do that probably in like another couple of days. Alright, so I did the tarragon seeds. These are the thyme seeds, but if you guys can see, these seeds are so small that I think you just really want to be careful with them, especially not to drop them in places that you don't want seeds growing. So I'm going to do them on the outside edge here where I don't really seem to have like a ton of carrots growing. And then by the time the carrots are done, or rather as the carrots get closer to being done, those should be germinating. And then once I pull the carrots, you know, the thyme will have the room it needs to grow. So let me put my little sign in there. I made up my little sign before I planted them. That way I don't forget. And I'm going to come back with a glove and push it down just a tiny bit. I don't want the seeds to just get blown away. And I'm going to do the same for the tarragon. So in this bed where I have the purple carrots, I'm going to go ahead and take some of these lavender seeds and put them down here as well. I have a few carrots that seems like they're germinating on this side, but that's totally fine. It doesn't seem like very many. And I'm sure by the time everything comes up, you know, if I need to, I can always move the plant. I can always move the lavender plant. And then in this onion bag over here, I'm going to go ahead and plant some mammoth dill. So I'm going to be transplanting cucumbers into this bag, or rather direct sowing cucumbers into this bag in probably March. So I want to go ahead and get the herbs started now, so that by the time the actual plants are set to go in here, we'll have the herbs started and growing. That way they can do their job as a companion plant. So I have my little beet bag here. I'm actually going to plant some nasturtiums here. So these shouldn't really interfere with the beets, because once they're out, I'm actually going to be planting a tomato plant in here. So I'll come back and push those down. And then I'm also going to be planting nasturtiums in the carrot bag. I'm only going to do 2 here just because of the spacing that I have, but it seems like we got a little bit of room kind of like right there. So I just dropped them on the side and I'll come back and push those in.